Hi. Happy Wednesday. It's Samantha from Soul Pathways. And I guess I'm here because, well, yeah, my dad, he said get out there and do a update. And so what's been going on, and this is about my unconventional love story, which is basically about my spiritual journey, a story about all types of love, which started with my connection with God, leading me into self-love, and definitely leads to romantic love. But really, this is all about healing, rising through tough times, and becoming our highest and best selves. It's my sole purpose in life to share my story with you, as well as the things that I've been through to help you heal. And if you want to know more about all of that, and maybe why you want to stick around and or watch any of my other videos, check out video 2. On video 2 in the very front, I'll talk about that a little more in depth. Did I say debt or depth? I meant depth. Anyway, it's been a few days, and that's the truth. You ever been told good news, but your life just doesn't feel like good news? It's kind of where I'm at in this moment. And I know it's almost feeling like a delay or something. I'm just holding steady because I know and I trust God on all fronts and in all ways. But I've been working through a period of time where, even though I know I've closed out a cycle, a very, very hard one, and my last one, I'm being told. Yay! In a lot of ways, it still feels like I haven't, because I guess it's still wrapping up. It's still, I guess when you close out a cycle, there are things that take a minute to close. And there are things that only God can do, or your higher power, whatever that is that you call that for yourself. Nevertheless, what did I want to talk about today? That's where I've been. I hope that you're doing good. I actually was posed a question, and I'm sorry I'm very late with answering it. It was either, I think it was sometime last week. I had to write it down. There it is. How did you know those were your guides you were speaking with, and not just random spirits? this was a question posed. And I took that as meaning because I was born a psychic medium. And I've been heavily gifted since birth. And right when I heard the question, oddly enough, I kind of giggled because I was talking with a God at the time, and it's kind of like this, folks. The analogy is as such. I just heard when you know, and it is kind of like that. When you try something, or let's say, example, house hunting. Let's say you're buying a house. And you go and check out all these different houses. Now, if you've ever purchased a home, you'll know this. You'll know this feeling most likely. That home you knew you were meant to purchase. You just had that knowing, a feeling. And it was just, there was something about the house. Maybe the price. Maybe you liked a lot more of this, that, or the other. There was just a knowingness. And you can equate that to this question as well. How did I know? When I first started talking to my spirit guides. Well, I guess an even better question, especially when you're young, because I just thought of it. How do you know that they're good and not bad? For me, it was because my dad gave them to me, and my dad is God. And God's been with me since day one. And if you've been following my story at all, you'll know that I had a very rough birth. And my entrance into the world was not a welcomed one. So there is for me, the immediate answer was a knowing. Like, yeah, that's why I'm constantly saying to get in touch with your intuition, because it is your connection to source. They always say trust your gut. Those gut instincts. That there's a reason for that. That's not just some BS people feed. No. That's because there's a direct connection between you and source. There's a direct connection between everybody and source, but a lot of people have ignored it long enough and second guessed it long enough that, I mean, if you don't use it, it fades. Not that I don't believe, yeah, it's confirmed. I don't believe that it ever goes away, but it might go to sleep. And it might take work to bring it back. Like anything. I'll admit, I'm 50 this year, in my 50 years, there were periods of my life where I was further away from divine God, my Father, than I am right now. Facts. I mean, when you're working 80-hour weeks and you're homeless and you barely have time for anything, it's hard. And I was less aware spiritually. I mean, you just see me look off. That was me having a direct memory. I was less aware even then than I am right now. It's almost like I'm still waking up. like I've been asleep my whole damn life. And it's sad. You know, I found myself completely bawling on the toilet this morning. But I'm going to share it because it's something I'm going through. Over my kingdom spouse. And the fact that I know we're gonna be old fucking people. I mean older in terms of human years. I'm 50. It's not like I'm 20 anymore. He's not gonna be fucking 20, I'm pretty sure. You never know though with Divine. But I'm 50. And I'm just imagining if my kingdom spouse is also older. I'm just going to add the like me. I started crying. Because I'm like, there's a lot of emotions there. It's like, why'd you make me wait until I'm 50? But and there's a very logical, and I know it, a spiritual reason. I understand it, I get it, but the emotional, loving human being who just so wanted to be with her significant other is sitting there crying and wanted to know why. And she wound up begging Divine for time, and she already knows Divine's gonna give her time. My Father's gonna give me time. He's gonna give both of us time. Why? We're delayed at least a decade already, him and I. Facts, I was supposed to start at 40. 40. I was supposed to start at 40. I'm turning 50. But it wasn't just any one thing. It was me too. I don't think I was quite ready. So, when I was looking up earlier about, I was thinking about my homelessness, and it was just before I turned 40. I had been homeless my first time. It was during my master's program. It was a nightmare. And I wasn't even remotely, like I said, awake. Nothing like I am right now. I'm not saying that. No, I'm not. Just stop. I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm sorry. No, I've got some. I've got an ancestor who's got some jokes tonight. No, we're not. Nevertheless, the funny thing is when you are with, like, your family, your ancestors, you just know, you got that feeling, there's a flow. And some of you might even see them. I can see. I mean, I've been seeing Archangel Michael since I was a little. And like I said, and I've said it a million times, I thought everybody had an archangel. I thought that was who everybody had. I thought everybody was guarded by a guardian angel like Archangel Michael. Come to find out, nobody is. I had no clue nobody was. This is how much I was into all this stuff early on in my life. I just wasn't. It took a long time, and I think there were lots of things that interfered with this for me. And I do mean a lot of things that I had no control over. Had those things not interceded in my life, I think my life would have been very different. But my life is what it is, and it's almost like I'm 50. Yeah, I'm turning 50, but I don't feel 50. I feel 20, like I'm waking up and I'm getting to find out who I am, and it's very, very weird, you know? So it's odd. And the thing is, the gang stalking has propelled me into this like nothing else. And the more it happens, the more I succeed and I heighten and I become. And even though that cycle's closed and they don't want to ever accept that, that's on them. That's on them. That's none of my business. That's their lives. If they don't want to listen to divine, they're going to get their asses handed to them. Okay, that's what you want. And that's all I can say about that. I mean, you're going to get yourselves wiped right off the fucking map here. And you see how the sun's coming out? That is definitely my father talking, saying yes, and that is clarity for you. Period. There isn't, and this is something else I said, and it wasn't today, it was yesterday. No weapon forged against me will ever prosper. What is a weapon? Any plan, any weapon, anything that might harm me, anything you do to try to harm me, it won't work. That's what that means. Ever. And I found myself giggling because I said to somebody, I said, but yet they continue to forge them and spend all their frickin' money and time on it because they're demonically oppressed. And I think people who are demonically oppressed and possessed, they don't have a choice. And I recognize that. When you have demonic possession, you're almost to a point where you are tortured until you do something for your side. So you got to keep going, even if you're told not to. So I feel very, very, very bad for the people who are getting bitch slapped on both sides, because they're getting hit by the demons and the devil, and then they're getting slapped back by God. Period. They're not sleeping. They're probably having a tough ass fucking time. But, in the same, and they're gonna probably hate it that I say this, but it is their choices that led them here, there, where they're at. Trust me, the demons did not force themselves down their throats unless they did. I do know a thing or two about that. Working with Archangel Michael gave me a lot of understanding about demons and demonic oppression and possession. I'm capable of holding space for it. Does it mean I like to be gang stalked? Fuck no. It sucks ass, just like anything else. When people treat me unjustly, I mean, if it's anybody else, I would expect the same response from any other person in this world if they were being treated as I was being treated. It's a normal response to dislike being unfairly treated by groups of people who don't know what the fuck they're doing, or who the fuck they're doing it against, and then they're getting paid to do this shit, which really burns my biscuits. Because I am here trying to make my own career take off, and it will. 2000 on my timer. So, yeah. Random spirits. Here's one bit of advice. You don't want to fucking talk to random spirits? Then don't do shit that leads you to them. Like black magic. Stay away from shit that takes you down the rabbit hole of darkness. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong. You're talking to somebody who understands we need darkness as much as we need light. But if you don't want rando spirits up in your field, then stay away from the fire that's gonna get you fucking burned. Stay away from it. Here's one, and this is fucking, I just cannot even still believe it. The Ouija board. You can walk into any one of these retailers right here, buy it for like 15 bucks. And I'll tell you what, if you're with the right person, they can make that Ouija board a portal. I tried to snap like that. I had paper in my hands like that. I don't know that with every grouping of children who decide to fuck with that board, that it's a portal. Depends. But I'm just getting a really don't fuck with that board type feeling. I think there's a lot of stigma on the board in and of itself. But if you want rando spirits, since we're talking about random spirits, stay away from the Ouija board. That's actually where I was taken to possession, was through a Ouija board with two friends when I was, what was I, 19? 20? No, somewhere in there. And I was stupid. I could have been 21. I was young. Yeah. It was stupid. And that board wound up going to a synagogue or something like that, because my friend at the time, she was Yugoslavian, and she took it to her church. Come to find out, and I learned this with time. You don't burn these boards. You don't break them in half. You can't throw them away. She gave it to the church to deal with. Never saw it. We bought that board, used it one time, and it wound up going to the church after that. Never seen it again. So, one time. That can be verified. Well, I mean, not that I talk with these people anymore. That was many, 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 many moons ago. But yeah. So, word on the street is people are trying to collect dirt on my name. Good luck. Like I said, I was the kid that always liked to stay home. I was a homebody. I never did shit. I was boring as hell. I had no friends. I liked to sit at home with my mom and my dad. That's what I did. I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. I didn't have friends. I was the quintessential good girl. And then I went to college. And I made my first friend, and within minutes I was smoking. Within minutes. And that's when the Ouija board came in, and yeah. Didn't last long. like I said, I currently, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. I quit everything I started. But I'm not saying I'm perfect. By far, I'm not. But I'm definitely not the person who snuck out of the house and ran off into the woods and did shit that I think my mom wanted me to sneak out of the house just to give her and my father some alone time. She's like, will you leave with your siblings? But I was like, not that person. That just wasn't me. And you know, if my siblings, who I don't talk with anymore, but if they were to be honest about me, I was the most homebody of all of them. They're very social, and I was very not. I didn't need to be social. I never felt the need, because every time, I always had fitting in issues, so. And I liked my solitude and being alone. So, like I told God when I heard that bit of news, you will literally have to make up some shit if you want to find dirt on me. For real. I mean, I've made mistakes in life. Who hasn't? Even embarrassing ones, but I've never done bad shit. Like real. You just won't find that in my world. That's not me. Yeah. Anyway. So, that's how I knew I was speaking with. And I think I nearly, you get used to it. For the longest time, it was more like hearing them in here, because my clairaudience developed later. So, first time I heard my name, I nearly fell off my bed. But there were times though before that when you're waking up between sleep and awake, and that there's a state right there, I would sometimes hear talking. And I knew something was up with that, because that's not normal, like talking. And then there were times when I'd wake up and I had heard like the most heavenly symphony, like I couldn't even replay it if I wanted to. I've never heard even anything like it here on earth. It's like a symphony from heaven. I've never heard nothing like it. It's the most beautiful music I've ever heard in my life. And I only heard it once or twice, and it was when I was younger. It was between coming out of rest and waking up. And then I woke up smelling cigarettes, cigars, different types of colognes, flowers, you name it. So I have clairaugustus. I can smell things, I touch things, I'll get touch memory. I can stand in somebody's energy, and I can feed, I can usually tell about them things that way. But hearing, all my senses, and then there are other senses outside of that I have as well. Nevertheless, if you're wanting to hone your ability to talk to your guides or to God, it's just a matter of getting real quiet with yourself and doing it on a regular basis. It's consistency, and it's allowing yourself to get real quiet. I remember the time when I mean, I haven't been meditating forever. There was a time when I thought, I'm never meditating. I can't meditate. I'll never be able to meditate. I remember those were my exact thoughts. I didn't understand it. I couldn't wrap my mind around it. And then the other thing was like, how am I going to be quiet? I didn't know how to get quiet on the inside. But I worked that shit out. Because the very first time you get really brutally traumatized and you know you need to heal, that first time you sit alone in the dark and cry, that's a form of meditation. And I realized that, and I used that as a way to start meditating. I sure the fuck did. Excuse me, I cuss and I swear. That is the bad thing I do. I do cuss and I swear. I'm an earth angel who does cuss and swear, but I swear I don't do anything else. I do. I like to cuss and swear, and it's like a form of stress relief. It's almost like a second language to me. I know it's something I keep wanting to say I should change, but I don't really want to change it about myself. I'm kind of up in deliberation. So I don't know. For now, it's me, and we'll see where it goes. It's what I got. I mean, when you're dieting, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you're celibate, you don't have a boyfriend. All I got is laughter, cynicism, and swearing. I'm not letting go of any of that shit. I'm just not. Sorry, folks. I'm not. And I know God's probably shaking his head like, I hear laughter. I hear laughter. I don't ever claim to be perfect. I'm on a human journey like anybody else. I'm not perfect. I fuck up. But I usually can tell when I fuck up, and I really work hard to make it right. And yeah, that's what I got on that. There was another topic, but I think this is going to be quite the longer topic. Now that I'm looking at the back of this note, I didn't realize I had stuff wrote on the back. Yeah, that's going to be a longer topic. I'm going to say that for next time. That's actually a very good topic. So we'll talk about that maybe tomorrow. I hope it warms up. But, you know, there's this whole concept too, I heard, of people possibly thinking or considering me to be lazy. Which is sheer bullshit and funny, actually, to me. Here's the thing. Until you've walked even remotely 1 mile in my shoes, from start to finish, birth to now, you wouldn't even know what I've gone through. You know what you know? What you've been told. And what you've been told, how do you know that that's the truth? Have you fact-checked it? Have you talked to me about that? You only know part of the story. And you don't even know if the part you know is true. As far as I'm concerned, my name is Samantha Eagles. And I'm the only one who knows me. If people are talking to you about me, why aren't people coming to me and asking me, is this true? A lot of people like to make judgment calls that are just wrong. I would rather call them assumptions. You would be wrong to assume that I'm lazy. Just because I'm 50 and where I'm at. Picture it. Are you even capable of putting yourself in another person's shoes? I am. Working your whole fucking life towards multiple degrees and certifications. Having multiple different jobs while also being in a very abusive family. Going through multiple different traumas that you've had to heal. Not to mention living through a lifelong betrayal that you weren't even aware of and only now just finding out about. And fighting against this betrayal and not knowing about that either. AKA the gang stalking / adoption bullshit. Which wrapped right into the identity theft. My identity was stolen because people wanted to kill me so they could take the gifts that I had to claim my spiritual inheritance and my life. Not because they wanted really the sole purpose, but they wanted the fame and the money wrapped into it. Period. And you'd be wrong to say I'm lazy just because you have me oppressed into a room. Like I said, if you're not very spiritually inclined, you wouldn't even remotely know anything about me or my life. But I work in the astral as well as here on Earth. I've been working my ass off from the moment I could work. I'm an archangel. I've been helping people since I've been capable of helping fucking people. And at least to God, and that's the one that matters the most to me, my Father. That is work. As well as all of the degrees and all the jobs that I got that you guys had me illegally fired from. Now, I'm going to quickly wrap back to this before I close. Right quick. I'm going to wrap back into the identity theft for a second. If you've purchased vehicles or homes in my name, you're going to get caught. Just saying. I do know that there's either a guy and a girl or a guy and a guy that purchased a vehicle in my name. They forged my name. You're going down. Don't think you're not going to get caught. And then there maybe possibly a home in my name. All homes and vehicles and properties, offshore accounts, inshore accounts, who gives a flying fuck? If it's my money, it's coming back to me. Just saying. It is. And if you've signed my name, if you're acting like me in any way, shape, or form, you're going to prison. Because you're being watched. And you're being surveilled. And I'm not going to have to lift a finger. You're just going to get caught, and you're going to go to prison for these fucking crimes. It's fact. I don't know why people are like this. I couldn't even imagine stealing somebody's personal, private information and then running out and buying a bunch of fucking shit with it. Like the person stealing my damn mail. Okay, you do know that's a federal offense. And you are also on the clock. Soon enough here, you're about to be going to prison too. If you don't get that mail situation turned around and rerouted back to me, all of it, every single piece of mail. And then the person who fucked up all my identity within the governmental systems of Michigan. That needs to get cleared up, because somebody fucked it up to the point where I can't even get in any of my accounts. And that wasn't the case even early last 2025, last year. That happened mid-year last year. And so there. Do know, clock is ticking. And if you fucked with my identity, if you're acting like Samantha Eagles, if you signed Samantha Eagles, if you forged my name, if you forged any documents, if you bought anything under me, if you're trying to work under my name, under my social security number, any of that shit, you are going to go to prison. Sorry, not sorry. You did that shit to yourself. Learn the lesson. Don't do it again. And if you don't, then I guess you're just repeating your shit. You must like to be somebody who punishes themselves. You deserve better. But if you want to keep punishing yourself, go ahead. And for the question that I keep getting, because on and off I keep hearing, I wonder if she knows what I really did. The answer is yes. I know. I know. I know what you really did. Are you happy now? Four on my timer. I'm gonna call it quits. Okay, until next time. I do have another topic, so I'll catch you on the flip side. Okay. I won't leave it like that. Regarding that last topic, I can say I have forgiven but it keeps getting reopened. So it's kind of hard to let a wound heal when it continually keeps getting opened. But I'm in process of trying to forgive fully. Understand forgiveness doesn't mean re-entrance for me, but I do know it hurt me. If that was your goal, you did it. But I forgive you. Like anything, this is a human journey. And you live and you learn. And I'll just say thank you, because you taught me a lot of things from the things, well, all of you have done to me. You've all helped me become who I am today. And for that, I thank you. Because God used each one of you as a tool to hone me into the best me yet. Thank you. Gotta have ops in order to become the best, I guess, earth angel. But like he said, God, don't take the credit. It wasn't you. I did the fucking work. You committed crimes. I had to do the work. All of it. Your time's coming. You're going to have a chance to do some work. And with that, I'm closing. Be well. Much love to you. I'm going to try. Until next time. Bye.